And look at my QCD. Look at this. It's like, bro, look at this QCD. Like, look at that. And keep in mind, every single...
If only you knew back then how good it was. You could do this if you wanted to, but you got complacent. Yo, Scenarios, get in a Discord call with me right now. Write your username, your Discord username in chat right now, or you're permanent. I'm being serious. Discord call with me right now. Go. Are you serious? Oh, I'm fucking dead serious. Type your Discord username right now. We're getting in a call or you're permabanned. It's as simple as that. Go. You're gonna get free stream attention. Nope. Oh, so you want the perman? But like, why no, dude? If you feel so strongly that I could do this if I wanted, but I got complacent, why wouldn't you want to get in a call with me? Why? If you feel that strongly about this message, why don't you want to get in a call with me? It's my real name. Okay, so I'll make you a deal. I won't leak your Discord, right? I won't leak your Discord. But what I want you to do is just sit here, send me a friend request. My username is just Donal, okay? It's just like that, just Donal. Send me a friend request right now and tell me what letter it starts and ends with. That's all you have to do. I'll accept you getting a call. Ends with EG. Okay, now send me the friend request. I'll accept it. Is your name, does your username start with a D, yes or no? Because I'm getting a bunch, but does your username start with a D? EG. No, let me see if this is you. Okay, is it... Like, does your Dude, okay, look, I get it. Does your username start with a D, yes or no? Did I just send you a DM? Is that the right person? It's... Bro! I'm actually gonna permaban you. I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking permaban you. What letter does your username start with? You're permabanned if your next message isn't the letter. N? Did I just send you a message, yes or no? Is that the right person? Yes or no, did I? Yes? Okay, perfect. Here, I'll move my camera in case it would leak it. Alright. Yo.
What's up?
Okay, so you could do this if you wanted to, but you got complacent. You mind explaining that?
Remember, like, when was it, like 2 years ago? Was it season 12? When you're like, I'm gonna hit rank 1.
Yeah.
What changed, bro?
What changed?
Yeah, what changed?
Everything. The meta, the fucking the solo impact in the game, literally the fucking items that were in the game, how much health every champion has.
Listen. I agree with you that the game has become like very team dependent, but like you can still fucking win more games than you lose. You can still work your fucking way up.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You're thrown in a torture chamber for a month. You're in this torture chamber. There is absolutely no way for you to get out of this torture chamber. You are condemned to being in there, right? 2 years ago, when you would get sent into this torture chamber, there would be some days where you would have these genuinely good days where, like, they would bring you, like, I don't know, fucking nice food, you'd be able to play video games and all that stuff. And the other times you'd be tortured. Now, I want you to imagine that you get tortured harder than you ever were before, and now the good days, instead of giving you these nice meals and video games, they give you crackers and cheese, and that's all you're getting.
That's great, man. But like, all I'm telling you is like, if cheating can do it, you could too. But you became.
So that's your take. If
this is what you used to talk like. It's the truth. Like you used to say it yourself. Like anyone can do it, right?
Yeah, and yes, because I agree that there is a certain amount where like anyone can do it, but then there's also this thing of like, is it worth going through that like fucking cancer when you sit there and the reward is way less than it ever was before, but the amount of effort that has to put in is way more than ever before?
I mean, the amount of time you tried like doesn't reflect that though. You tried for like a year.
What do you mean I tried for a year?
You tried for like a year and then you fucking like gave up.
That's your take. I tried for a year and gave up.
Going to like Europe for like every other month, bro. Just stay in NA and fucking get it.
So okay, wait, hold on. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. So you're sitting here and you're genuinely telling me to my face, right? Your honest to God take is, Dantes, instead of going to Europe where they have lower queue times, higher skilled players, and overall a better quality of game than in NA, right? And when I say lower queue time, I mean 5 minutes versus 25 when you're in high challenger. When I talk about like, let's say even viewer count difference, it's like a difference of 1.5x every time I would go to EU after the first, right? And not just that, but then also... Okay, so you're telling me that you honestly think that if I would have just sat in NA, remained the same like caliber level of player, but because I played more consistently on one region, that I would have ended at a higher rank, that it would have been like somehow better than what I did?
No, I'm not saying it would be better for like your life. Like, obviously not, because you know it helps your stream. But like, you can't like sit here and act like you can't achieve it.
Okay, so this is the way that I'll explain it to you, right? It's not a thing of I can't sit here and I can't hit challenger, I can't hit like even top 10 if I want to, or I can't even potentially hit rank 1, right? It's not a thing of like I can't. But have you ever streamed League? Yes or no?
Yeah.
You have? Okay, perfect. How long did you stream for?
I don't know. I don't think so.
What do you mean? Like, did you like stream? Did you ever stream League consistently?
No.
Okay, perfect. So the thing is that when you're sitting here, it's not like streaming League is like playing League, right? If I have a tilting game, I can't sit here and say, you know what? I feel like doing something else. Let me just fuck off and do something else. I need to sit here in front of the camera and I need to just put it in. Right? Put in the hours, put in the work, whatever it might be. And it's not even just a thing of like, I need to queue up. It's, okay, I need to find ways to be entertaining. I need to find ways to be engaging. And at the end of the day, when you're playing ranked, you're going to get emotionally invested in the games, right? Now, I want you to think, let's say your champion, right? My champion is Hecarim. Back in the day, the reason why I was able to stream 12, 16 hours a day and I wouldn't even look at the clock is because back then, every win would feel amazing and the losses would feel like, fuck, I could have actually sat here and there's probably a lot that I could have done differently. You know, like, if I would have played this team fight different, like, there was a lot of self-assessment and self-analysis, right? But over the course of the years, you have to understand that they have legitimately nuked solo carry potential, right? Like, the entire concept of solo carrying is something that some champions can do, right? Maybe like Udyr or whatever the fuck. But as a general concept, the vast majority of champions can't, because in order to solo carry, you need so many different things in your kit that most champs don't have it. And Hecarim is one of the champs that doesn't have it, right? And one of the reasons why is because he has no percent health like damage, and there are no items that give him percent health damage. So when you're playing against these like tankier comps, you have no real way to reliably kill squishies as well as enemy frontliners. Okay, this is very important because back in the day when I used to sit here and I used to be motivated, right? When I used to sit here and I'd queue up 16 hours a day, and after every game I'd say it was my fault because of X, Y, and Z factor. Part of the reason why I was so motivated was because of how much fun I was having. It was because I was sitting there and I was like, you know what, bro, I'm gonna be honest, like, fuck, like, when I can get those crazy engages off or get these like sick 1v3 like triple kills, like, that's insane for me. Right? But the items that were fun were removed. The ability to solo carry was drastically reduced. And it's not even just that. It's a thing of player mentality has also gotten infinitely worse. I can honest to God say that I've been playing on NA for over 10 years now, right? And high elo, I've been playing for about 4 or 5. Right? 5 years, I would say. 5 years in high elo, and I can honestly say that apart from today, I cannot remember a single time in my life where I was getting 3 back-to-back surrender at 15s in winnable games. I cannot remember a single time in my life that this happened. Or players just randomly deciding to AFK or doing all this bullshit. Player behavior is in the worst state it's ever been in a season. Yes, in a season where team reliance is the highest it's ever been. Now, let me ask you a question. How do you think it's possible for me to maintain the same level of, let's say, motivation to hit rank 1 or whatever the fuck else, right? And like, when I tell you motivation, it's not a thing of, well, Dantes, if you just grind consistently. Because the thing is that feelings of demotivation can be enough to like affect your gameplay, can be enough to affect your performance, right? So how can I sit here, right? And like, your comment was, you just got complacent. Is it a thing of complacence, or is it a thing? Wait, were you even listening for the past 20 minutes?
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's not complacency. Your argument is that the game's unfun. That's great, I agree, bro. The game is unfun. Doesn't mean that you can't achieve things. You can laugh all you want, but like, tell me fucking Canyon is gonna be suck timing. I remember you saying that you're literally better than Canyon on Hecarim.
Yeah.
What a joke, bro. What a joke.
What a joke. Link your account.
My account? What do I have to do with this conversation?
If you're gonna sit here and say something like, no, give me a second, no, I let you talk, now it's my turn. If you're gonna sit here and you're gonna compare, like, if you're gonna say something like, oh, you once said that you're better than Canyon on Hecarim, which I am, by the way, right? And you're gonna sit here and say something like that, what are your credentials? Link your account.
What is my credentials anything to do with that?
What your credentials have to do is because when you sit here and you say something like, what a joke, when I made a comment like that, then clearly there has to be a perception that you have that's better than mine if you're more knowledgeable and you think what I'm saying is a joke. So as a result, I'm just asking for what are those credentials? What is your rank? What is your account?
Okay. You want me to like explain myself?
No, I want you to link your account.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna do that. Just like,
yeah, because you're fucking platinum, that's why.
Regardless. I mean, you're basically plat too, so it's not like it matters, you know? But anyways,
Wait, you're being serious? Wait, no, hold on. Are you being serious when you say that? No, wait, no. Before, listen.
it would be like, oh, well, yeah, Canyon's a better player than this guy. He's permanently challenger, permanently ranked on the best server. Winning
Canyon's permanently ranked 1 on the best server. Wait, when's the last time Canyon hit rank 1?
last season.
When?
Like literally towards the end, or last split, I mean, like a month ago.
Chad, are there any fact checkers? First off, was Canyon rank 1? And secondly, regardless of...
When it was ranked 2, but yeah. It's last split.
Okay. You do understand, though, that a person can be a better overall player, but worse on an individual champion, right?
I do know that, but I remember you saying it like a while ago when he was like actually. I swear you said that like when he fucking picked it in like a pro game, so I don't know. It wasn't like recent though. I mean, sure, maybe recently because he hasn't fucking played the champ. He practiced the champ.
Oh my gosh. Dude, you know what it's like saying? It's like you have someone that spends their entire life dedicated to a certain, like, I don't know. You have someone that spends their entire life working as, like, for example, a seamstress, right? And then it's like that person comes up to you and they say, I'm a better seamstress than, let's say, Louis Vuitton, right? And then you go up to that person and you say, no, you're not. If Louis Vuitton decided to become a seamster for the next fucking 20 years, then he would obviously be better than you. You know, it's like the only one talking in theoreticals when you're saying shit like that is you. You do realize that, right?
The only one talking in theoreticals is me?
Yes.
What theoretical did I give you?
The fact that you think Canyon's a better hacker than I am.
I can concede that, sure. Yeah, it's somewhat theoretical.
Yeah, it's also wrong.
Okay.
So now,
There's a reason why he's perma rank 1 and you're
okay, bro, and I can sit like you know what the problem is with this conversation is that when you say something like that, I can literally just sit here and say, well, the thing is, you're wrong because you're platinum, and I've hit challenger on 4 different regions, and I've been challenger for years.
I can say that, you're right, you can. So most people wouldn't agree with you.
Dude, do you not realize that, like, when you say, yeah, you can cope and say that, it's like I'm literally using your argument against you and you're recognizing its flaws?
No, we're not really.
What do you mean, not really?
It's just like it's not the same argument.
What do you mean it's not the same argument?
Okay, you want to say it again? Because I'm like getting confused.
Okay. I don't know why it's getting this sidetracked, but the thing that I'm saying is when you're sitting here and you're talking about like, oh, Canyon said rank 1, so he's a better hacker than you are, right? It's legitimately the equivalent of saying something like at that point, you could say that Canyon is also like the best Draven on the planet. You could.
No, okay, so do you know why I say that? Because Canyon has, I mean, he doesn't really play Hecarim anymore, but he has played Hecarim in the past, like in pro games, in LCK.
Okay.
And like he's won on the champion.
Okay, cool, nice. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Imagine I go and I practice with the entire like SKT fucking roster, right?
You lose every game.
No, but like imagine I said, okay, first off, you do realize that the workload that these people put into the game is that they're legitimately scrimming 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
They're scrimming 12 hours a day. They're doing game concept 12 hours a day. They're sitting there, they're fucking going and they're like improving synergies over the course of literal months, if not years. Like,
I think you're better than these players. That's the crazy part, right?
On my individual champion, for sure.
That's just insane. Like, you're just insane if you think that.
Is it insane? I'll give you an example. When Baiano, right, he's the guy, the big like head of Brazil, right, when it comes to like Brazilian content creation. And this guy hosted a thing, the Cibolao, right, where you would have legitimate pro players in the Brazilian scene playing against just one tricks, literally just normal one tricks. And it was actually a common occurrence that the one tricks would win over the pros. The reason why is because pros might understand general game concepts, but individual players that one trick their...
Wait, pros in what region?
Brazil.
Okay.
I mean, listen, you can laugh, but it's a concept that just demonstrates...
Not like trying to... It's just like... like, dude, it's not the same. Like, it's just not.
Why is it not the same? Why is it not the same?
Because Koreans would never lose to any of those teams. I mean, yeah, you can like say.
So, okay, let me ask you a question. Oh, really? Really? You don't think so? Okay, cool. Around King P-Zhang and fucking, and 3 other, like, very high challenger Korean one-tricks, right? Very high challenger Korean one-tricks play against a Korean pro team. You don't think that they would stand a chance of winning? Honest to God. Yeah, of course you're saying I'm retard.
They would stand a chance, obviously.
Yes, exactly. Okay, yes. And the reason why they would stand a chance is because having insanely good knowledge on your champion, right, can a lot of the times afford you opportunities and plays that other people would have to like make up for by just having good overall game sense. Like if I know my limits perfectly on a certain champion, right, then I'll know which fights I can and can't take to a level of perfection where if properly executed, you can legitimately have like 100% success rate, right? Where with other people that don't play the champion as much and don't have proper understanding of their limits, they can't, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why Canyon's never innovated an insane Hecarim build, right? Or why he's never sat there and done, like, insane innovations, right? And the reason why is because a good player, a good player can use a champion. A great player can innovate with a champion. There's a massive difference between the two.
Bro. I mean, like, that's just like, are you serious, man?
What do you mean, am I serious?
Dude, itemization is like not the biggest part of the fucking game. Like,
Itemization, wait, first off, it's not about just itemization, when should I build armor, when should I build magic resist. It's about knowing a champion so perfectly that you understand which items can and can't work with them in a way that you can legitimately innovate these crazy builds. It's like I tell you, I'm an airplane engineer and I know how to build an airplane from scratch, right? And then you tell me, yeah, but I know a pilot who like makes more money than you, and if he probably learned your shit, he would know that as well. You know, it's like there isn't any comparison. Someone who's good at the game is different from someone who's got an individual champion, right? Like, I'll give you an example, and this will put an end to like this specific argument, right? But if you take someone like, for example, Ronnie Coleman, right, in his prime, or you take Arnold, or any of these Mr. Olympias, Christopher Bumstead, right, and you put these guys against, I don't know, like an MMA fighter, who do you think would win a lot of the time? A professional MMA fighter or a professional bodybuilder? Who would win?
MMA fighter.
Okay, and the reason why is because these people have more expertise within that domain, right?
Yeah.
So the way that you need to view it is that professional players view it as if they have a lot of muscle. Right? These are people that sit there and they have a lot of good game sense and all that kind of stuff that allows them to be good and do well because they have all of the base. But when you look at the actual experts in any given field, like you can put a bodybuilder against an individual fucking like a MMA, Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, whatever you want to do, and they'll always lose to the professionals. And the reason why is because they're just not well versed in these specific things, but they're good in an overarching sense. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very, very, very similar concept where it's like someone who one-tricks a champion can easily say, I'm better at X, Y, or Z champ than this pro player, right? Like, take Zookill, for example. Like, Zookill is 100% a better Yasuo, right? And even Yon than Faker is, without a doubt in my mind, right? But the thing is that Faker is a better overall player. There's a massive difference between these two.
Okay, I'm willing to concede that this is like just a boring conversation. Just like I'm willing to concede that you're better than Canyon on Hecarim.
Nice, good. All right, so now as for your fucking initial bullshit about complacency, okay? So, okay.
I think if somebody was to put in enough time, they can hit NA. They can hit rank 1 on NA playing Hecarim. He, like in the past year, he's had patches where he's viable and good.
Yeah, I agree. So, let me explain something to you. Okay? And I'll explain something very quickly. And once you understand this, it'll probably help a lot. Last year was probably the year, or last split, I'll say. Let's say last split. I would say it was probably the split where if you're a Hecarim player, it would have been the easiest time for you to ever hit an insanely high rank. The easiest time, right? And yes, and the reason why is because last split was the time where Hecarim was the most meta over the length of time that he's ever been. Because in the past, the way that it normally works with this champion, well, it's not just that he gets nerfed, but this is just like a general history lesson for everyone watching the stream. It's a thing where in the past, the way Hecarim would work is he would have, let's say, 1 or 2 patches where he was at 53% win rate, but he would have an 85% ban rate, and then he would sit there and they would nerf him. He would go down to 47, 48% win rate with like a 5% ban rate, and it was like this for legitimately 2 years. For 2 years. The only time that it changed was after Riot reworked Hecarim, using my ideas, by the way, to rework the champion. Like, you can laugh, but it's documented. Go on my Twitter, go on my highlights right now.
I mean, it's just like funny because like.
Because it's true?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
It's like funny.
Yep. Like, and for anyone that sits here and might think, oh, look at Dantes with his ego, he's delusional. Highlights. We scroll down, July 5th, 2022. I make a tweet about potential changes that they could do for Hecarim. Out of the 3 to 4 changes I listed here, Riot only didn't do one of them, legitimately. They only didn't do one of them. And Rioters have been in my DMs, right, talking to me about Hecarim, and me talking to them about Hecarim over the course of years, okay? So, now, to continue on the thing. Last split was the most meta Hecarim's ever been. And yes, you're right, if I was sitting there now, if I was motivated for League, I probably could have hit, you know, like, insanely high rank, maybe top 10, rank 1, whatever it might have been. Okay? You're right about that. But the reason why I didn't doesn't have to do with complacency. It just has to do with the fact that you get to a point where you're like, why am I even doing the things that I'm doing? Right? And when you say complacency, the reason why I have a problem with it is because it's almost like you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, you knew you could get away with not doing it, so you just didn't go for it. But it's not a thing if I knew I could get away with not doing it. It's because I knew that, like, it wasn't the workload or the amount of games that intimidated me, right? It wasn't the fact that I thought junglers were just good now that intimidated me or anything like that. It's just that, first of all, I fell out of love with the League of Legends community in general, okay? Because of a bunch of like things that had happened over the course of like 5 or 6 months. So but the whole idea of being this like guy that hits rank 1 to show everyone that anyone can do it, that thought in my mind completely died because I just like didn't. It became a thing where it wasn't a thing of like, I didn't care anymore because I didn't have to care. It's just because consistent things over the course of months led me to a point where I no longer felt any of that urge or motivation because I just didn't want to anymore, right?
I can understand that, yeah.
So that was the first thing. The first thing was falling out of love with the League community in general, okay? So that was number 1. Then the other thing that made it so I didn't want to is because Hecarim entered this weird zone. So typically, Hecarim should be a 49-62 champ. So you might not know what that means because I just made it up, but I'll explain. A 49-62 champ, what?
I said okay.
Okay, so what a 49-62 champion is it's a champion that will have a 49% win rate on its worst players, right? And a 62% win rate on its best players. And Hecarim went to this point where he wasn't a 49-62 anymore. Hecarim became like a 53-58, where it's like now, if you were just an average Hecarim player, you could make him work more often, and if you were insanely good, you could make him work less often. So it felt like your level of skill as a player was being inversely rewarded because the items that were in the game, the meta that was in the game, and just the overall game state itself didn't really allow you to do the things that you had been able to for years. Okay? So this whole thing of like, you could have hit rank 1 if you wanted to last split, or like, you can still hit it, you're just not as motivated, or whatever it might be. It's not necessarily a thing of like, I'm afraid of the work load that has to be put in, or that I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, like I don't feel like becoming a better player anymore. Because the truth is, right, that I, over the course of years, would consistently get coaching, play thousands of games a season, sit there and put in like more work than almost anyone, right? And all of the things that made up my motivation to put in that work, which were how much I loved the potential skill expression with Hecarim, as well as how much I loved feeling like I could be this almost like figurehead for like an ideal, right? Of like, look, I was always a player that was bad when I first started, and now I hit the highest rank in the game. It's like both of these two concepts legitimately died over the course of like months. They just like legitimately died, right? Because like what you have to get is that my entire thing of going for rank 1 in the first place was started because of almost like this parasocial love for the idea of like what the league community was. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying that everyone's bad, and I'm not saying that like that all the streamers are bad or all the viewers are bad or anything like that. But the thing is that when you look, and for example, when I went to Brazil, it's like when you look at your comment section and you see that you're getting 70% negative comments of people that have literally been watching you for years and shit like that, when you're sitting there in like one of probably the most stressful environments that you've ever been in, or when you become like this laughing stock because of like certain things that just feel completely out of your control, and when it feels like you have to put in like quintuple the effort of everyone else just so that you don't have to face like anywhere like to face even like a fraction of backlash. What?
I know you're young, right? Yeah, you're like 23, right? Something like that.
22.
22. Like, do you understand why people didn't like you after watching you go to fucking Brazil?
Yeah, no, like, listen, the thing is...
I know you're young, I think it's fine because you're young, so, like, you're gonna fuck around with it anyway.
No, but listen, so this is the problem that you have to get, is that I understand, like, a little bit of where it might have come from, but
every game you just trolled your team.
It wasn't.
We're on support.
Okay, listen. That second part, sure, right? Like, the only thing that I could say is looking back on it, I should have done like a restructure of the entire team, right? Like, I should have sat there and like chosen different like players in different roles, like whatever might have been, sure, right? Like, I'll give you that. Like, it's almost like I agree with you in the sense that trip, I set myself up for failure before even going. I'll agree with it, right? But when you look at that trip specifically, the thing that you have to get is that like there were genuine points where I could have made a right call, and this had happened multiple times, by the way, that I'll make the right call, I'll do the right thing, and then it's like because I didn't do the wrong thing, I got flamed. But then if I go along...
I understand that, right? Like,
but then...
Something that I think you don't understand is this, okay? The community perception of that trip was that, like, we're going to go here and try hard and, like, show that like, NA is, like, can compete in an international thing that isn't, like, Worlds, obviously. And, like, we can fucking show up. But when you just started playing the games and you're, like, playing it up for the stream, I think people thought that, like, you're just an idiot.
Yeah, no, but like, and again, the thing is, like, I get it, and I get where you're coming from, but you have to understand something about the league community, right? And this is something that you can say I'm young, whatever it is, but you probably haven't been as, well, I know you aren't as invested in the scene as I am, because it's been my full-time career for 4 years, right?
People are.
But what you have to understand about the league community in general is that a lot of the times, your rank is a shield. Okay, so what I mean by that is like, listen, it's gonna make sense in a second. So when you're gonna sit there and when you're gonna go and you're gonna like be a certain rank, it's almost like the higher ranked you are, the more immune to criticism you are. Like, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
This is the example I always love using, which is Hashinshin, right? So you know how Hashinshin got like canceled a while back for everything that he had done and everything that people said against him?
Yeah, I know about that.
The craziest thing is that I want you to think for a second, if Hashinshin was a rank 1 1v9 player, and he was a guy where every game he would have dropped 20 kills over the course of like 2-3 years, whatever it might have been, and those same things would have gone up against him, how much less backlash do you think he would have gotten? Right? Just like think about that for a second. And the thing is that you know what the answer is, right? Because the way that the League community works in general is it's kind of like how society will judge you first based off your appearance or like your, let's say, what they're gonna see, right? So like if they see that you're driving a certain car, wearing certain clothes, like that'll be the first thing they judge you on. League community is your rank. So the second your rank is in a lower state, right? It's just a thing where it's like people don't care as much and people aren't willing to like give you the benefit of the doubt because for them the shield is like lowered. And it isn't.
No, if that would have been the case for him specifically. But
yeah, but what I'm saying is like, yeah.
I know your point is, like, I get your point, but I don't know if using him was a good example, but sure.
Yeah, I mean, listen, what I'm just trying to say is that in general, when it comes to like players, criticism is almost like directly related to normally how good of a player you are, right? Like there was someone saying that like for example, Cookie Law was an insane player, right? The guy was, you're not wrong, but it's like I don't think that people that knew of him knew anything more than he was a challenger player, you know? Like he didn't have this perception of being, first off, this 1v9 demon or anything like that, and secondly, the things that were put against Cookie Law were infinitely more like concrete than the things that were thrown against Hash. Not to say that what Hash did wasn't like something that happened, but just that Cookie Law had way more stuff that was against him too, right? So that's why those are those factors. But it's like a thing where you just have to get. I came into the scene and I said I was going to hit rank 1 at like 18, 19, right? Even at like 20. And when. Like, you have to understand that the other thing, too, about it is I hit Challenger multiple times, right? Like, I had hit Challenger in A multiple times. EU, I hit it, I think, twice. Korea hit it once. Brazil hit it once, right? And, like, over the course of years, right? But still, even though I would always hit Challenger, always, right? Whenever I was feeling motivated, and it wasn't even just early season, there would be some times where in the middle of the season I'd get a 75% win rate, or like near the end of the season I'd do like some kind of crazy run or some shit, you know, like it was more of a thing of like my motivation level. But then to always sit there and be able to hit these crazy achievements, but then you have these like certain viewers that are going to sit there and be like, yeah, but Dantes, the thing about it is that you're like, you're just a master player, right? Like, oh, yeah, he's a master player, maybe grandmaster at best, right? It's almost like when you sit there and you give your heart, your soul, your body, your mind, everything, right? You give up social interaction, you just grind for hours upon hours a day to kind of like prove something, right? And then you see constantly the amount of people that are going to demean your accomplishments. You will get to a point one day where you say, what is the point? And it's not that you're saying, what's the point because like the workload was too hard or anything like that. It's just a thing of like, why am I going to sit here? Why am I going to play 12 hours of solo queue a day when like, when I'm not enjoying it as much? Why am I going to let my YouTube channel, right, not get any variety content and let it die? Why am I going to let my clips channels not get any good content and let those die? Why am I going to sit here and ruin my career, ruin my, like, my relationships with whether it be like my girlfriend, my family, friends, whatever else, because I just want to grind all the time? Like, why am I going to sit here and almost ruin my life so that I can prove a point to people that are just going to turn around next year and say, oh, well, he only hit it once, you know? It's like, you have to get that coming into the scene at 18, 19, it's the best thing that could ever happen to anyone, because the thing is, you come in and you're young, you're fresh, you're motivated, you're ready to go crazy. But then when you're sitting there and you're in the scene for years and you see over time how many times your accomplishments are going to be devalued, or how many times like you're going to sit there and it's just going to, you're going to see something that just like makes you think, wow, or this guy's going to say this thing about you and now like thousands of people are going to believe X, Y, or Z, right? When you see how easy it is for shit like this to happen, it legitimately makes it so you think that there's no point, because there isn't, you know? Like,
I think, like, even you being so invested in League of Legends, like, I think even for you, your life would improve if you quit. But my thing is, like, you can't just act like it's not possible. Like I can't do, like, even if I fucking put all this work, like I wouldn't be able to do this. Like,
Okay.
act like that.
I want to ask you a question, and it's going to be an extreme question, but I want you to give me an honest answer. Okay. Imagine you tell me that you're an aerospace engineer, right? And your goal is that one day you want to make a rocket. You get to a point where you've completed 90% of this rocket, and the last 10% is going to take you 6 months to complete. 6 months. During which time you're going to have to go away from your family, your friends, everyone, right? Now, I want you to imagine that at this point, you've been married to a woman for 5 years, and she falls sick. And then you find out that your mother is in the hospital. She also doesn't have much longer to live. Your friends are sitting there, and they're also at points where, like, they're drifting off and all that kind of stuff. And, like, I don't know. And, like, more things are kind of, like, falling apart back home, right? And then you're going to sit there, right? And you're going to get a job offer from someone that says, listen, instead of finishing that rocket, how about instead what you do is you just give a course on aerospace engineering. I said, what? Yeah? Yeah?
You missed something.
Okay, I'll come on in 5 minutes, okay?
Over.
What happened?
Right, I'm coming.
Okay. So then imagine you get a job offer that'll pay you 1.5 to 2 times the amount that you're making as an aerospace engineer, right? To teach instead. Would you take that offer, yes or no?
I mean, it just depends on what the fuck gets you up in the morning, bro.
Bro, but it's not a thing. Hold on. It's not a thing if it depends on what gets you up in the morning. Like, if you're sitting there and you made it a goal to create a rocket, but you know that everything else will fall apart if you do, would you still do it? Yes or no? Like, everything else in your life that would, like, just fall to nothing. And I want you to keep in mind that at this point, creating the rocket, the reason why is you wanted to send, like, an astronaut mission to Mars. But then you found out that all the astronauts are secretly jerking off to your fucking, like, sick wife while she's in her hospital bed behind your back, right? Like, I want you to imagine this happens. Would you still sit there and say, you know what? I really want to finish this this fucking, like, rocket so that I can send this mission to Mars? Yes or no?
Okay, well, I'm obviously gonna say that like you would stop, but like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, give me a second.
You know, that's not the exact same.
Yeah.
Scenario, but.
Well, yeah. One second. Okay, so that's why what I want to tell you is you have to understand that it's the same kind of thing with me and, like, the whole league scene in general, right? Like, even now, you were saying earlier, like, hey, Dantes, I think it would be healthier for you if you quit the game, right? You said that.
I would say to anyone who isn't a Korean, like, professional getting paid $6 figures.
Yeah, but what I want to tell you is, like, what if I told you that I literally have?
Like, you mean quit the game, you have?
Yeah, like, have you watched my stream in the last 4 months or no?
Not really, like a little bit.
Yeah, look at my YouTube channel for a second. You don't have to watch the video, but just look at the content. Over the last literally 2.5, 3 months, I haven't been playing it. I haven't. Because the thing is, it just got to a point where I said, if I can make, because the truth is, right, that one of the reasons why I wanted to sit there and hit rank 1, there were like a few reasons. The first one is was due to insecurities, right? So the first reason why I wanted to hit rank 1 was due to insecurities. It's because I said, you know what, I've always been insecure, and the only way that one day I'll feel secure is if I'm literally the best. So that was reason number 1. Reason number 2 is because I like the fact that I could kind of treat my content creation journey as this online kind of scrapbook, and I could go along on this journey and really sit there and go for these goals and stuff like that, and have an audience of people that could, like, relate to me, or that could, like, see themselves in me, or whatever it might be, that could also follow along and get inspired, right? Reason 3 is because it was also the best way for me to make content at the time. Obviously, if you're grinding high elo, You have to make storylines, you have to sit there and hype it up, and you have to do crazy shit if you want people to be invested, right? And then the other reason why is just because it was a thing of like I wanted the respect from the community. That was like one of the biggest things. I wanted to sit there and I wanted to have the respect of the people and have them be like, you know what, Dantes is a fucking crazy player. Like that guy's like actually insane and all that stuff. And now I look at it, and 4 years later, legitimately every single one of those things is something that I've been completely disillusioned to. Like the idea of like, I need to hit rank 1 to feel secure, I don't. I actually feel very confident nowadays. I lost a lot of my insecurities, right? Especially being in like a very like healthy, good relationship and all that, right? Like, I don't feel insecure anymore, you know? So that's number one. Insecurity's gone. Number 2 is the whole thing of like going on journeys and doing all this kind of like crazy stuff was kind of like finished because I traveled to you multiple times. I traveled to Korea multiple times. I even went to Brazil, right? And in all those places, I hit the highest rank, you know? So it's like you sit there and you look back and you're like, well, if I really want to sit here and I want to commit for like a journey, then I guess the only thing left to do is go for like a rank 1 and A run, right? Which leads me to my next point, which is the fact that the game isn't fun, and it makes it so that if I want to sit here and I want to create the best content possible for my viewers, the unironic best way for me to do that is to sit there and be like, you know what, I'm going to sit here and I'm actually going to do variety games. Guys, I'm going to do a horror game, I'm going to talk to an AI character, I'm going to sit here react to a video, right? And the craziest thing is that by doing that kind of content, I get infinitely more people that are going to watch me because they actually like my personality and they might relate to me or find me funny than I ever would have gotten playing League and hitting some kind of crazy hype play, you know? So it's those 3 things, and then it's also the fact of like respect from the community. The truth is that I feel like the League community has no respect. You know, if a player like TF Blade were to be stuck in Masters for 1 split, imagine, you know, something's going on in his personal life, whatever it might be, he's stuck in Masters for 1 split. Every person that has ever disliked TF Blade would say he's a Masters player, and the only reason why he ever hit high rank in the first place was because Jax was OP for years. Now Jax isn't OP, and that's why he's like not a high rank anymore. And the reason I know that is because that's legitimately happened to countless streamers multiple times, regardless of what champion they made. It doesn't matter in this community what your actual achievements are. If someone can attack you, they will. They will. Like, dude, even Agurin, the guy who had rank 1 in multiple regions and all that shit, lost 2 tournament games to me, right? And we knocked his team out of the series, and he was getting shit on for months because of it. A rank 1 level player, every day, like, this, I'm telling you, this community, if they don't want to like you, they will find reasons to dislike you. Right? So the thing is, like, at the end of the day, when you sit here and you look back at everything, right? And you're sitting here and you're really thinking about, where do I actually want to go from here? Which is something that I've done, right? For me, it's gotten a point where it's not a thing about complacency. It's not, you know what, I feel good with my life, and since I do, I'm just not going to grind League because it's too stressful. It's a thing where all of these factors have contributed to one another in a way where it's like my genuine motivation to sit here and grind is at 0. Like, my motivation to grind nowadays, the reason why I played off stream this morning or whatever it is because I genuinely find nowadays, right, with recent changes that they made, is that rank means more. Because it does. Now is the first season, I think, in literal years where I can honestly say rank means more. Right? Because it's harder to get higher ranks. And that's something that might re-spark my urge for the game in the future. I'm not saying it won't. But it's like when you have all of these factors that have been weighing on you for months and just bring you to a point where it's like you don't feel that great, especially considering the fact that the first thing that set this off in the first place was when Ride Balance team sat there and nerfed Hecarim's mana pool and made it so Manamune wasn't like good on him anymore. That was the first thing that set this off. I don't know if you remember, because Hecarim was sitting there and it's like, now I can't do these crazy assassin builds. Then they removed Ingenious Hunter, build creativity went down even more. Like everything that I came to love about the champion just wasn't present in the champion anymore. Because that's like the final point I would say is that it's always been my love for Hecarim. You know what I mean? Like over the course of the last, I would say 4 years, I remember that there used to be times when I was grinding 4 years ago, and every champion that I would play off Hecarim, I would have a 30% win rate. 30%. Literally. Nowadays, in the last several times I've hit Challenger, right? And even nowadays, if I were to actually do like a serious committed like 35-second delay, fucking like try hard grind, whatever the fuck, I get champion win rates always above 50, normally around like 55% off Hecarim. But the thing is that if Hecarim is at a point right now where I look at him and I say, I don't even recognize you anymore, it's like, what is the urge, you know? It's like you tell me that one day I married this woman and she's a beautiful, kind woman, amazing cook and all that stuff, right? Like literally super like just pleasant to be around, and then 3 years later she gains 50 pounds. She just fucking like sits there and insults you all day, sits on her ass and watches TV. It's like, of course I'll spend fucking 14 hours a day in the coal mines. Why would I want to go back to that, you know? So that's the thing I'm trying to explain, is that it was never a thing about complacency. It was never a thing of me saying, I've been looking for an escape from League for years, and now I finally found it with like variety or anything like that, right? Or it's not a thing of me making excuses, being like, oh, you know what, the reason why I can't is because of X, Y, or Z. It's just a thing of like letting people understand the reason why I'm not motivated anymore, you know? Which isn't about complacency, it's just about realizing the reality behind things that you just idealized, you know? Like I used to sit there and I used to look at things as like an ideal. Like if I hit this, I'll get that. If this happens, then this will happen, you know? And then...
But is your way of doing that looking at an old clip and being like, oh, this isn't possible anymore?
Well, it's part of it.
You realize what people are going to think if they see you do that, right? They're going to be like, okay, well, this guy is just coping.
Listen, and they can. What I'm saying is, like, if you're going to sit here and you're going to watch me playing old Chemtank, Manamune, Hecarim, and you'll say, oh, he's just coping, whatever it is, I'm going to be honest with you, and this is me being dead serious. If I were to look back in time and I were to say that I could have a 49% win rate over 500 games doing Chemtank, Manamune, or Duskblade every single game, or I could have a 65 nowadays with the builds that are currently in the game, the problem is that nowadays the game just isn't as fun. So it's like...
I'm aware, bro. I've said this 5 times now. I agree that the game is less fun.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, like, listen, if you want to sit here and you want to say people can interpret X, Y, or Z from you looking at an old clip and being like, oh, look at how crazy it used to be back then, sure, they can interpret that. But if you're going to type it, right, then I'll get in a call with you and I'll go on a fucking schizo rant for 45 minutes and explain why that's not the case, you know?
I think that doing that is unironically done better for you than fucking coping about how Hecarim used to be fun.
Well, I mean, the truth is that, bro, I play a game nowadays and I can't kill anything. You know, it's like I'm a serial killer, and I used to be able to go out and just like grab someone by their hair and then like slice their throat behind a fucking alley, you know, like in game. But then it's like nowadays, if I even want to try doing that, they all have body armor and these like protectors on all their vitals, you know. It's like, what fun is there in being a serial killer? That's legitimately the same thing as Hecarim right now.
Do you still have contacts at Riot?
Contacts? I mean, yeah.
You know what you need to do?
What?
Fucking like start a movement to revert systems back to season 12.
It's not gonna happen.
I know, but I know it's not gonna happen. But like, if you're gonna fucking be part of this community, like this community is gonna die in like 5 years. You know that, right?
Yeah, but
He's like, oh my god, dude, the fucking esports scene is growing in Korea.
no, listen. So listen, I'll tell you something that next season they're already going to be implementing massive changes that are legitimately going to change the game, and it's not through like gameplay or items or anything like that, but it's system changes. So
Well, you know what I mean when I say system, right? Like, I'm talking about like durability patch and like mid-wave.
no, and the thing is, like, I understand these things, but you have to understand that, like, even if I were to sit there and ask Riot, they won't. You know, like, I've been asking them.
I know that they won't do it if you ask them. I'm saying, like, somebody needs to fucking start a, like, some shit on, I don't know if it's Twitter or fucking Reddit or what, but, like, people need to be like, we want the fucking game back what it was like in S12.
Oh, so you mean, yeah. So like when Tyler won for legitimately a year straight back in like season, what was it, 9 or 10, was like linking his Discord every game, talking about how League needs voice comms and how every single like day, the biggest League streamer would talk about how League needs voice comms, and he would make that a recurring theme throughout his stream for literal years, and Riot never listened. Like, you have to.
I'm not saying that Riot will listen or not. I'm just telling you the game is gonna die no matter what.
Yeah.
If you want to make a last ditch effort, then that's what to do. But otherwise,
You want to hear something funny? I'll give you like a little lore. So there was a time years ago where the win trading scene was ruining NA. It was the most horrible it had ever been in the history, and this was back in I think season might have been 12 actually, season 12. Beginning of season 12. So back then what I did is I said, I'm going to save NA. And I started making tweets every single day about win traders, how win trading works. Yep. And what if I told you that after 5 days of this, there were no changes to League of Legends, but there was a change to the League of Legends Twitch scene because I was banned for an inappropriate username that I had had on Twitch for 3 years at that point.
didn't people hate you back then?
No, back then I was actually starting to be like well liked.
Wait, how much like? Because I don't remember like the timeline by like years or anything. Like, how many viewers did you have back then?
So that was when I first dropped out of school. It was when I first dropped out of school, so it was the first time that I was starting to average like around 2,000, and then I peaked at like 3,000 something. Then my viewer count dipped to I think it was something like 1,800 or something along those lines. Then I got banned on Twitch, and then I came back 11 days later, first stream back I think.
Was that your ban when you like made the YouTube video?
Yeah, that was my ban when afterwards I came back and I was renamed to Do Bleed Purple.
Okay, I remember now.
Yeah, so that's why it's like you have to understand it's a thing of like it's like a thing where nowadays I just have to think about like, yes, I love playing League, but you have to understand that I don't love playing League to entertain my viewers anymore, which is the way it's always been. It's almost like I love variety to entertain my viewers, and League is just so that when I sit there and I'm like, I want something that I feel like I can grind towards and a goal, that's my thing with League. So League, it's almost like nowadays it's just like a personal kind of like mission, if you want to call it that. And if I don't feel like playing that day, I just won't, because there's no like stress or pressure, which is something that had always been present in the past, right?
Okay, so it turned into a fucking mission to make Riot Games change the fucking...
Listen, the thing is like, yeah, but what you're saying is just unrealistic and it's never gonna happen.
Bro, I know it's unrealistic, but the game just fucking sucks anyways.
Yeah, but I can't do anything about that. Dude, it's like I'm sitting here and you're telling me that your flight is taking off without you and you need me to open the door, but it's like I'm the fucking clerk and I can't do shit. And then it's like you're sitting there and you're like, oh, tell them to open the door, tell them. But it's like, do you really think anyone's gonna fucking listen to me? I'm the fucking clerk.
Fucking bottom, bro. Bottom the fucking tank.
Okay, no, that's not happening. Huh.
I'm the flame, bro.
Okay, in game. But yeah, so anyways, I'm bored of ranting now, so that's about it. I'm probably gonna queue up now.
Oh my god, it's over for you, bro.
Why?
I'm gonna queue up.
Yeah, I feel like queuing up now. This talk unironically makes me want to play League, so I'm wanting to queue up.
This talk makes me want to fucking never want to play League ever again.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, I'm different. Alright, anyways, good talk, bro.
You certainly are different. Goodbye.
I'll see. Nice. At Dantes, it's already been an entire hour. Yeah, but what if I told you it's like that's a talk that needed to happen? Do you know what I mean? Who knows what I mean? Who did that need to happen for? Me. That shit was literally like therapy. Like, you know, unironically, when I used to go to my therapist, I would have like conversations like that. I'm not even shitting you. I literally treated fucking therapy like it was a 3 a.m. Discord rant with my friend.